How to adjust football YPPA for strength of schedule. Have you ever wondered how to make sense of a football defense's performance when they face different levels of competition? Today, we will tackle the question of how to adjust yards per play allowed for strength of schedule. This adjustment helps us understand a defense's true effectiveness, regardless of the offenses they encounter. First, let's clarify what yards per play allowed means. It measures how many yards a defense gives up on average for each play. To get a clearer picture, we need to consider the quality of the offenses that a defense faces. A defense that plays against strong offenses might look worse than it is, simply because of the competition. To begin adjusting yards per play allowed, start by collecting the raw data for the defense across all games. This data shows how many yards the defense allowed in each game. Next, evaluate the strength of each opponent's offense. You can do this by looking at their own yards per play gained or other efficiency ratings. Once you have that information, assign a weight to each game based on how strong the opponent's offense is. For instance, if an opponent averages 7 yards per play, which is quite high, you should adjust the defense's yards allowed downwards. This reflects the tougher challenge they faced. Now, calculate an adjusted yards per play allowed. You can normalize the yards allowed in each game by dividing the yards allowed by the opponent's average yards per play. Alternatively, you could use regression models to estimate expected yards allowed based on the quality of the opponent. After you have these adjusted values, aggregate them across all games. This will give you a strength of schedule-adjusted yards per play allowed for the defense. Keep in mind that special teams and field position can also impact yards per play allowed. However, these factors are often excluded or accounted for separately since they affect starting field position and scoring chances. Additionally, big plays or unusual events can skew the yards per play allowed. To address this, you might want to trim extreme values or use median values for a more accurate picture. Finally, while the core adjustment focuses on opponent offensive efficiency, you can refine your adjustments by considering situational factors like down and distance or red zone efficiency. By adjusting yards per play allowed for strength of schedule, you gain a more accurate measure of a defense's performance. This allows for fair comparisons between teams that have faced different levels of competition. In practical terms, analysts can use databases of team offensive statistics and apply formulas to adjust defensive yards per play allowed game by game. This helps in evaluating defensive units or individual player impacts more reliably.